Good evening and welcome to episode 36 of SundownSurmisings. We took a little bit of a break. We were a little bit overwhelmed here.
We were.
We had thought about planning stuff ahead, and we were going to continue on the theme. We left off at the end of, well, actually it wasn't the end, it was the start of January. If you missed that, go back and look at it. I'll have a link down below. On new starts.
Yes.
And we looked at our last one, in case you've forgotten, was on the new name with the white stone, which was a sign of non-judgment but acquittal that God passes to us. It's kind of a really cool story and insight. And if you missed that, go back and watch that. It's, the best 15 minutes of your life. If I could be self-ashamed or shameless and self-promoting, is that however that phrase is. But we start on with our new series. Again, keeping that, new starts. There's a lot of times in the Bible there's new starts.
Yeah.
Right? God gives a new start to different, and sometimes that comes with a new name, we'll see. Sometimes that comes with a new direction, a new place to live, I need you out of this place to go live here. And especially as we get into 2021, we thought this would be a great time to explore those kind of things. We just had no idea when we filmed the last one on the 4th, everything that would have transpired between then and today, this Friday.
One of the blessings we are praising is that God has brought students back on campus in cohorts.
Yes.
So in your classroom you have some students.
Yes.
They're
the best! That's just for them to get.
Yeah, so they're called a cohort, so that's nice. And I see a lot of energy coming from our teachers down there. To be able to see that interaction day to day.
Yeah, we have a real competitive spirit between like Coach and Bryant and Coach Mendoza and Ashley and Miss Bauer, but we have some great stuff going on.
And one of the things we like is connection points, and for us too helps us. So please feel free to write to us.
Yeah.
You can let us know what you're thinking and give us some thoughts where you'd like us to see. But tonight,
yes,
I'm really excited because we're talking about the new idea. And I've got two pieces that come out of this story.
Okay.
Now the story's kind of large.
Yes.
But we're going to go to Luke 5, and there's a lot of theology in this story. Because Jesus...
yeah.
And I'm going to hone in on the people.
Okay, all right.
And,
that's where the action is anyway, right?
Exactly. And so we're going to go into Luke.
Okay.
And Luke 5. Luke 5. And it starts at verse 17. Now, to set the story straight, and Doug, you can help us a little bit with this, is there's a huge issue between the Pharisees and what Jesus is doing.
Yes.
And how he's going out of the box or off script or away from the book. Or at least their interpretation of it. And he's really bringing in, what God really intended.
Yeah.
Because they have warped this message in a lot of respects. But one thing I really appreciate about Jesus is that he didn't shy away from the conversations. And so this story sets us up that he is in a town. He has people gathered of the other side, if you want to say that, the other side of the aisle, or however you want to say that.
Both, right. He has the Pharisees
and the Sadducees,
and he has I won't say the outcasts.
Oh, sure.
But the poor people who want to hear him, but they've been crowded out because these other people want the front seat so they can catch him.
Correct. Yes. So just kind of set the stage for us with the reading of the first couple, or just kind of give us an idea where this is at.
So this is Sabbath. And Jesus is in a house of somebody, and he's talking and preaching. So I imagine, to me, it had been something he did or said at church was so moving that the conversation moved there, right? It's like, we're going over to so-and-so's house for potluck or dinner, right? And everybody kind of moved there. And so it's got to be relatively close to a temple because they wouldn't walk too far on the Sabbath day. So, I always figure it's got to be, this person's house must be about 1,000 feet or less, or around. It could be up to, 1,500 feet, okay? But they're in for the long haul, because if they walk too far, then they're going to have to wait until sundown before they can go home. So he's got a captive audience, right? So he's got everybody there, they've eaten, they've talked, he's telling stories, he's instructing in the gospel, and he's got this space around, and in the midst of this comes some people who want some help.
Well, it's interesting because this is going to blow up a lot of things because it is Sabbath.
Yep.
And there's going to be some work going on this Sabbath. And Jesus is going to do something that they're criticized for Sabbath.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this because I had forgotten until you mentioned this one. This story is according to C.S. Lewis, this is one of his absolute proof that Jesus is God.
Well, we might come back sometime more in depth on that story too. But I want to go. So let's hit up. If you could read for us.
Yep.
Verse 18 and 19.
Okay.
And takes all the way to 20.
All right.
18 and 19.
18 and 19, is it stop there? Okay. I'm reading from King James. You can read from whatever version you want. I read from this one simply because it's what I grew up with and familiar with. But NCV, NIV, grab your electronic versions, follow along. Here we go. And behold, men brought in a bed a man who was taken with the palsy or some sort of physical affliction where he couldn't walk. And they sought means to bring him in and to lay this person before Jesus. And when they could not find any way that they might bring him in because of the multitude, they went up on the housetop. They let him down through, King James says, the tiling with his couch into the midst with Jesus.
So, number one, they had to take apart this roof.
Yes.
And so they're up there, and the odor's not on the ceiling, we don't think, on the roof.
No.
You know, so you can imagine.
It's his house. You know, I can imagine, Jesus trying to talk, and people are trying to...
Someone's falling.
And you're trying to pretend it's not happening for a bit, but...
Well, the thing that gets me in this story, and I don't know about you, and maybe you out there sometimes experience this, but Mrs. White indicates that this man was in this condition by his own choice. Mistakes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but mistakes just seem to linger with me.
Yeah.
And when we have mistakes, sometimes it changes our facial expressions, it changes how we look on things, it changes our attitude.
People.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I love about the story, and Doug's going to read this here, is what happens next. So they lower him.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know if he's a willing participant or not.
But he can't move.
He can't move. I mean,
it is what it is.
Right, exactly. So they're going to bring him down, and I want you to hear what Jesus does, because there's two pieces in this story that Jesus does. It gives, we're talking about a new name or a new direction or new support. And here's one of them. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 20. And when Jesus saw their faith, the men,
yes,
he said to him, the man in the middle, or on the cot, "Man, your sins are forgiven you." And that's the line C.S. Lewis says is the most important line in Scripture.
Really?
Yep.
Your sins are forgiven. And what I like about that is he just gets a new lease.
Yeah.
Now, the Bible talks immediately all the time.
Yes.
Things change.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that whatever mistake, whatever angst that came with that, whatever tied knot in the stomach, or whatever counters the frustration of being in this condition, peace.
Yeah. Now, the Bible doesn't say immediately, but Ellen White describes that a sense of peace immediately came with it, and he fell back and just relaxed.
Yes.
Right? He's not actually healed.
No, he's not healed.
He's just like, the guilt is gone. The shame is gone. This guy knows who I am and what I've done.
Right.
And it's not okay what I did, but he's okay with me.
He's okay with me. Powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the friends... But whatever they were intending when they dropped him over, Jesus recognized.
Yeah.
He says, because of you, I'm making well. Now, for instance, the next part of this goes, and family goes into this idea. If I were paralyzed, and Pastor Gregory brought me someplace to God and says, hey, whatever's in your world, be released. And we know that. We did the sinner's prayer, being converted to God's heart, I'd be okay. But I couldn't bike ride with Pastor Gregory. We couldn't go on walks together. There may be something more that's wanting to do. There's something more. They're content.
See what you're doing. He's not just answering this guy's prayer. He's now about to answer the friend's prayer.
That's what I think. That he's about to do something for them.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Yes.
And so, two things. He gets a new lease for himself, that he doesn't have to be weighted down by the sins. Now, the discussion goes around him.
Yeah.
And
probably not so quietly.
Correct.
Right? The Bible says the scribes and the Pharisees, hang on, let me read it.
Yeah.
The scribes and the Pharisees began to reason, saying, "Who is this speaking blasphemy? Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Now they're right. And again, I just want to pause, because to me this was such a profound sight. C.S. Lewis says, think about it. Like, if I affront you, then you can forgive me.
Right.
But if I affront Amy, then Amy would forgive me. But what Jesus is saying is, I don't care who else you think you affronted. It's really all about me, and I can forgive you. Now it's like if somebody stole $50 from you, and I said, that's okay, and you'd be like, hey, wait a second, do I get my $50? You know, because Jesus is saying, whatever you did to people, whatever you did, I got it.
Yeah.
That is either the most bold, audacious, egotistical, like it's all about me, or it really is all about him.
Yeah. And so he Jesus kind of confronts their thoughts and says, hey, which is easier?
Yeah.
You know, to say get up and walk or to be forgiven. And the next thing is the new lease on life for his friends. And what happens next?
That's so cool.
Is Jesus says, get up and walk.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine, I don't know what kind of structures they have, but I got to imagine when he got up, immediately the Bible says he was healed.
Yep.
And as he's walking out, they're tumbling down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to embrace him, ready to be gathered back together, ready to have a connection again. And so often in our lives, we feel like it's either or. And Jesus in this story tells us that not only does he give us something, and I'll tell you a story, we've talked about this before, that when something happens to like a family member is healed or it gets better,
right,
we celebrate too.
Sure.
Not just the person who's better,
right,
we celebrate too.
We're happy with them and for them, but I really hadn't thought about that angle. I always thought, he did for their faith, and that's good. It's his healing. He couldn't do it. I've heard sermons on that. I've done that. But the idea that God was answering not just this guy's prayer, but it was going on. I mean, but he was answering the group, because obviously they're all friends.
Yeah.
This wasn't some random kind of person.
Right.
This was somebody that they had tended to, whose life was really going away.
Right.
And they're like, what can we do? And God's like, you guys, you five, you fabulous five, whatever. They're whatever. They got their center back if they're a basketball team.
Yeah, exactly.
Power forward or whatever it is. You know? And that is really cool. It's also to me really cool that God, he tells him to go. God doesn't expect him to just stay there.
Right.
And I'm not saying that God wouldn't have been okay with that, but God was happy to see him up, healed, and go.
Go hang out with your friends.
Go hang out with your friends.
Yeah, go be back with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about.
Thanks for coming. We'll take care of the roof later.
I imagine he's sitting down the thing.
I imagine the guy's like, hey, who's going to fix my roof?
I would have been. I'd been like, what in the world?
Who's cleaning?
If you could heal that guy, can you put the roof back?
And I always think, for me, when I've done preaching as a sermon, I always paint the picture, because the people who tried to crowd out the poor were the people who were trying to catch Jesus off guard.
Yes.
And because of the crowd, right, people couldn't come in. That means they also couldn't go back, which means as the stuff was falling, they were stuck with all that stuff falling on them, and all their dignity and all their whatever to try to catch Jesus. Right. It's like it all came down on him. It's like it came on. It's like there's so much in this, and they would have been, well, who's going to pay for my student? Who's going to pay? I got there. It's like, dude, you wanted that seat. There it is.
Now, do you know, like in some movies, they show a movie and then they have to wait for all the credits. They show something else, a little tidbit. What I thought about this story is how amazing, because you're talking about it being crowded in.
Yeah.
They saw the man come in on a stretcher. They saw it maybe go over the roof. They see that man walking out. They may have been inside, like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah. People maybe in the back or the outside of the door, they're like, what? Trying to look, what's happening? I can't hear, I can't see. And then, last thing they saw was this guy up. And the next thing is like, what happened?
He's walking out.
Yeah.
So, just God is amazing. And so,
great story.
I love the story.
Oh, man. I hope there's something in there that you went, wow, I never thought about that, or turned a corner, or if nothing else, gives you the hope in 2021 that you can have a new lease on life. Well, thank you for joining us. Look forward to next week. We're going to have another one of these stories. It's going to also be from Luke, and it's going to be a familiar story you know. I was about to say a familiar story you're familiar with. That seems a little redundant. But anyway, so we're going to head out to there next week. Catch us next week at January 29th. This is D. Gregory and PJ Deming, principal at MontereyBayAcademy.org, or D. Gregory at MontereyBayAcademy.org. We'll see you again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.